And that's part of Zack Littell's problem is he doesn't have good enough stuff to blow a pitch by a batter if it's in the middle-ish of the zone. It can get crushed in that point, whether it's a fastball or a splitter or whichever offering he's dealing up. So
you are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
We're here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 7th season covering the Rays daily.
So grab your favorite Rays gear and settle in as we discuss a Rays loss. Back-to-back losses for the first time since seemingly forever. Zack Littell giving up home runs like it's the Derby. We'll discuss that. Also a timeline for Shane McClanahan's return and a mailbag question to boot. Plus, things don't get any easier for the Rays as they'll face the New York Mets on the road. So a lot to break down in this episode, Ulises.
A lot to break down, but first, we got to tell you that this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you win your first dollar bet.
All right, Ulises, I was used to the Rays winning one-run games, but now they're losing one-run games. They fall to the Red Sox 4-3 to lose the series and lose their series winning streak, but that's okay. There's still a lot of baseball left, and I'm not going to get all hot, bothered, upset by another loss. The main storyline, I think, is Zack Littell giving up not one, not two, not three, but 4 homers to the Boston Red Sox. I believe all the Red Sox hitters were lefties that got dingers off Littell. I could be wrong on that. There were so many. I lost track. I can't remember. Was Abraham Toro batting from the right side?
Right, that's the one I have. Yeah, I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, but
we know Jaron Duran had 1, Marcelo Meyer had 2, and then Toro had 1 as well. Luckily, they were all of the solo variety. Otherwise, the score could have been a real crooked number. It could have been 8 or 10 to 3, something of that ilk. And here's a footnote, not a great footnote, but it's a footnote. Zack Littell leads all pitchers in Major League Baseball in homers allowed with 21. On, I guess, the positive side is that 17 I think of those 21 have been of the solo variety. So he has been saved by the solo home run and not the 2-run home run, the 3-run home run, or the ultimate grand slam. And that's probably why his ERA is in tow. So good thing for Zack Littell. He's not allowing a lot of traffic on the bases, or his ERA could be, 5.5 instead of 3.8 or wherever it's sitting right now.
I think we will all take a guy that is leading MLB most home runs allowed if and only if 81% of them are solo home runs, which is the case for Zack Littell.
Right.
And then there's another thing with Zack Littell too, the strand rate, left on base percentage. I love that rate, that stat for pitchers. It's one of the highest in MLB. It closes to 87%. So just because he has guys on base, that doesn't mean that they're going to score. He's able to do that. Look, 4 home runs in 5 innings it's a handful, almost, literally. Pun none intended. But in that sandbox of a stadium, I think that's kind of like a given, right? Yeah. Like, we know that that's going to happen. So,
especially versus lefties.
Yeah, it's right there, man. So I'm not too worried about that. I think what I'm worried about was the close games that you couldn't really capitalize on it. But again, when you win 15 out of 20, sometimes regression to the mean is going to happen. So that's why I am very adamant in making this point in the last week or so. Nothing has changed. This team, for me, at least personally, the expectation hasn't changed until they actually get a bigger cushion from being a 500-ish team. You can't really put your hand on the fire just yet for them.
Right. No, that's fair. And I'll be curious to see how Zack Littell adjusts or recovers from this. And, Zack Littell does a really good job of filling up the strike zone. And I think what we may start seeing teams doing, like we saw the Red Sox last night, is, hey, we're going to sit on the first pitch because we know it's most likely going to be in the zone. And that's part of Zack Littell's problem, is he doesn't have good enough stuff to blow a pitch by a batter if it's in the middle-ish of the zone. It can get crushed in that point, whether it's a fastball or a splitter or whichever offering he's dealing up. So, you wish that instead of, pitching right in the heart of the plate to a lefty, that he's working the corners or the edges. But, it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. Overall, Zack Littell has been really, really valuable for this Rays squad, and we hope that he's able to continue to be. Now, when trade deadline season comes and Littell possibly is looked at as being shopped, that could hurt his value, where teams say, well, look at all the home runs he's given up. It's only a matter of time before, there's a little bit of traffic on the bases, and his numbers aren't going to look so hot.
I guess it would depend on what kind of stadium they also play in, right? Like if it's a big, maybe Detroit would be great for Zack Littell, right? But I do want to make a note with what you said with the splitter and hitting the corners. You also got to tip your hat to the Red Sox hitters if they are looking for a splitter and it's already coming out low, they're patient. And they're waiting for that to be a little bit higher, and then they can destroy it. Like that. Also, you have to give a little bit of credit to the Red Sox hitters for laying off those low pitches and waiting until he just gives you a little bit more of that strike zone, and then they can put some damage into it. But overall, I am not that upset about Zack Littell's outing. I'm kind of more upset about the runners in scoring position and the runners left on base, which were more than a handful. But I think we should say something. End this lost series recap with good news, which was Yandy Diaz hitting his 10th home run of the season. By the way, if you guys haven't seen it, it's just it's a opposite home run, just Yandy just showing so much power, like 380 plus feet. He hit 14 home runs last year. He already has 10. It's June 12th. It could be one of those things where Yandy, as a hitter, has chosen to kind of sell out for a little bit more power, and then his contact is going to get a little bit negatively affected by this decision. But he's getting pretty close to some important names on the Rays home run record list too.
Yes, he is. And I do want to mention that, but first we do need to tell the audience something very important that is next on the Locked On Rays podcast, your team every day. All right, the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments like the Indiana Pacers beating up on the Oklahoma City Thunder. We all love that. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. Why? Well, FanDuel, they make it really easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. For example, the Rays right now are plus 1,900 to win the division. So if you want to take a gamble and believe that they can accomplish that feat, go for it. Throw some green Skittles at FanDuel and wait a couple months and see if your money grows from there. And here's the thing. If you're new to FanDuel, it is the perfect time to sign up. Head over to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. So basically $5, you win, then you get $200 in bonus bets. It is that simple. With FanDuel, you can make every moment more with that application. It is the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, Ulysses, focusing on Yandy Diaz for just a moment. He did hit his 84th dinger with the Rays to put him one behind Randy Arozarena for 9th on the club career chart. And you're right about that opposite field power. I believe 7 or so of his homers have been oppo, maybe 8 of his homers have been oppo, and then there's been 2 that have been straight away. And he has really been, I've mentioned this offhand the last couple of weeks, but I just wanted to bring up the numbers and establish this, how hot he's been over the last month. He has 6 home runs in his last 30 games, 25 RBI in his last 30 games, and he's got a line of a 270 batting average, 313 on base, in 459 slug. Exactly what we want from Yandy Diaz. Now, as for the rest of the club in this game, not so great, as the Rays were just 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position and left 7 on base. And, you know, there were multiple opportunities to get things done in the early part of the game, in the later part of the game, in the 8th inning, actually. The Rays had bases loaded, but they couldn't capitalize. And what really makes it challenging is when the Red Sox have a guy like Aroldis Chapman, instead of 27 outs, you're playing with 24 outs, as good as he's been. I know that, you know, some seasons with other clubs, he hasn't been, you know, as vintage Aroldis Chapman, but now in his, I think it's like his 16th or 17th season and 7th different team, like he is definitely settling in and finding a home in Boston, because he's been virtually unhittable. And when you have a fastball that's still 102 miles an hour, you're playing, you got to score your runs in 8 innings or 7 innings, and not, you don't have 9 innings to play with at that point, in my opinion.
The issue with Chapman is when you're facing him, you have to cover so much miles per hour gap.
Yeah.
The 102 and then to what, an 88? Like that's difficult to do. And we all learned that
unless you're Mike Brasso.
Unless you're Mike Brasso, right? Yeah. And that's magic, man. That's magic that happens right there.
Try to foul off 10 pitches against Aroldis Chapman.
Exactly.
If you can get it done.
You know, when Fernando Rodney was with the Rays in 2012 and 2013, that 2012 season, which was fantastic for him, historic, really. BA made a mention of that. The biggest skill that he could leverage during those 2 seasons was that difference in velocity between his pitches, because it's very difficult for a hitter to be ready for a 98 and also be ready for an 87. Right. It's going to be difficult. So yeah, with Chapman, he has that. And also, just again, don't look at baseball just as stat points on an Excel sheet, right? Like, you're a human being. When you get in the box, it doesn't matter if you have been playing this game for forever. That's still Aroldis Chapman that you're facing. You know who he is. You know what he's about. And he's an imposing bleeping figure. He really is. He's a tank up there.
Yes.
So that intimidating factor, that takes also into effect. And, you know, it's going to be difficult. And I wouldn't put it past them if the Red Sox are out of contention, hopefully, in the next couple months from the division, that he gets shopped around like he has been for the last half decade.
Right. Yeah, and I would think that the Red Sox would get quite the haul and be able to build up their roster for 2026 and beyond, because we see that the Red Sox have a bevy of young players on the floor already on the roster. So, you know, look out. They could be a force in the next couple of years between Marcelo Meyer and Roman Anthony and all these other cast of characters that they have.
Are you surprised that Yandy Diaz is only 1 behind Randy Arozarena for 9th in the club career chart?
Yes and no. No, because he's been with the Rays for so long. Yes, because he doesn't hit a lot of homers. But yeah, I mean, if you look at it, you know, after, I guess, Evan Longoria and maybe 1 or 2 other players, there is a big drop off of the top 10 homers list. So, I think it'd be really cool if he can get, which he's on pace to do. Well, now how many homers does he have? 84. Okay, so I was gonna say it'd be nice if he got 100 in a Rays
100,
uniform,
yeah.
but that won't happen this season, and who knows if he's gonna be on the team next season. So that's a little bit of a gamble right there.
Right now he has 10 in how many games? 60 what?
He has 10 and are we at 68?
66, 68. Okay.
Yeah.
So
and this is assuming that he doesn't have an IL stint or something like that. Like I mean, conservatively, I would say, hey, let's shoot for 90 or 92 and reassess from there.
Yeah, I mean, 90, 92. I mean, let's be a little bit hopeful here and play a game here. Let's say he's gonna have a 20 home run season, right? So you add 10 more, he's at 94.
Yeah, I don't think we're seeing 25 or 26 bombs from Yandy Diaz.
Yeah. God.
It would be very difficult. And again, he would have to play pretty much every day. And when have we seen that? I mean, we've seen a good, consistent 140 to 142. So,
or again, like I said in the first segment, he has changed his approach a little bit and is sacrificing a little bit more contact and on base for more pop and selling out for more. He's a strong guy. I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting. Well, okay. What do you think is likely to happen more? A 25 home run season by Yandy or a 35 homer season by Junior?
24 from Yandy or 35 from Junior.
Yeah,
I would say 25. I would honestly still. I would say Yandy Diaz with 24. 35 is a big number.
A big number,
and I could see some late season slumps from Junior as teams start to adjust, and maybe he gets worn down and tired as the season wears on. Maybe the question should be, what's more likely to happen? Yandy getting that amount of homers like we're prescribing, or Aroldis Chapman gets in the Hall of Fame one day, because he seems to be on pace to do that.
He's not liked at all, but the numbers.
You can't right? You can't disagree with the 400 or the 347 saves and the 7-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion, and 2.59 career ERA. So Chapman is a guy, he could legitimately pitch into his early to mid 40s based on the trek that he's on. Like he could play like 25 years in the bigs if he wanted to.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get K-Rod.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's got the numbers, but the integrity clause is gonna bite him in the what.
All right. We'll see. We'll have to find out. All right. We have more to discuss on this episode, but first we have to tell the audience something very important that is next on the Locked On Rays podcast. Your team every day.
Well, people, it's summer. Kids are out. And you know what? Maybe you want to go and take them to a baseball game at Steinbrenner Field. And you're going to do this by using Game Time, because Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. In fact, prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying tickets. And because they're now the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, it is so exciting to say, hey, I want to go see the Baltimore Orioles. Hey, I want to go see the Detroit Tigers that are coming in next week. Guess what? You can do that, and you can save money by downloading the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms supply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Do that today. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
All right, Ulises, to wrap things up here, we've got a mailbag question from our buddy Charles McGregor. Again, if you have a mailbag question or a voicemail, send it to lockedonrays@gmail.com or just DM us on Twitter or Instagram, and we'll try to get it. We haven't had really a full mailbag episode this week. We're peppering in mailbag questions here and there, but when we stockpile some more, then we'll get to that. But Charles says, McClanahan in the bullpen, ? Hey guys, I've been tracking McClanahan's slow progress back to the majors and he seems like a potential July or August return candidate. I'm wondering if it would make sense to do what Rasmussen did last year and have him work as a multi-inning reliever. The bullpen is good, but we could use another lefty. Also, even if they end up trading Littell, Boyle seems more than ready to slot in as a starter. What do you guys think? Thanks, as always, for the entertaining programming.
Thank you, Charles, for always being there with your questions and for the support. We really, really appreciate it. I'd like to say first, because sometimes you got to get, if you're not going to give yourself some love, who the heck is going to give you some love? All right. When this whole thing happened in spring training, do you remember what I said about his return?
To be conservative with his return? I can't quite recall.
We don't really know how long it's going to be yet. At least it's going to take a month to just do nothing and just like calm down that nerve. Just be patient. I think it's going to be great news if they get Shane McClanahan before the All-Star break. I think that would be fantastic.
Exactly. And now we're getting reports that he threw off a mound at a shortened distance on June 3rd, and then he had a 12 to 15 pitch session at the normal distance on Saturday, June 7th, and he has now paused his official progression through a throwing program after not feeling 100% in his first full distance bullpen session. He will seek further medical opinions on the nerve issue in his triceps. That is reported by Mark Topkin. And
so he could be done for the year, honestly.
All I'm saying from my very humble non-medical opinion, let's not count on Shane McClanahan.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we should look at 2025 with these news. Like, if he comes back, awesome. I think that would be a cherry, not even a cherry on top. That's like the brownie and the ice cream and the whole bleeping chocolate sauce. Give it to me.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is don't expect the dessert to come. Maybe you're just going to have to be happy with the entree and hopefully the jalapeno peppers that you ordered for an appetizer. Like, that's about it, babe. I don't know if you feel the same way and you're still counting on Shane McClanahan, but reading this, you're getting another opinion on a nerve. The first time you throw from a normal distance, you have to shut it down. Kevin Cash says he's officially on shutdown mode. So if he's on shutdown mode, how long does it take to revamp things? Because if you're shut down, you're going to rest. And after resting, you're going to have to take it all over again.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel the same way.
No, I feel the same way. I would bet, again, if there's odds on FanDuel, I would just say that he's probably unlikely to pitch this season. And maybe even best case scenario, if the Rays make the playoffs, then you could bring him out of the bullpen like you did when he was a rookie. That might be all we're hoping for. So I think after seeing and hearing and reading this news, we should be at the point where just assume that McClanahan will not be on this roster this year. So if you need reinforcements, go out and trade for somebody, call up Joe Boyle, call up Ian Seymour, because McClanahan's not going to be available. I think that's where we're at, as unfortunate as it is. And I hope this does not become a lingering thing into 2026 and beyond for obviously the Rays case, but Shane's case, because we've seen it time and time again where you have a young standout pitcher that looks like he could win a Cy Young or two, that is the ace of the staff. You go down with Tommy John or some other ailment or injury, and they're not the same player. I mean, look at Walker Buehler. And I know Walker Buehler was good against the Rays yesterday, but he has not been the same since that surgery and since he was in a Dodgers uniform. So I just feel for Shane in that respect, because I think his mindset and his agent's mindset was, you're going to come back, you're going to be healthy, you're going to be dominant, you're going to put up numbers, and you're eventually going to get that 9-figure deal like Tyler Glasnow. But now that 9-figure deal seems like a million years away.
Yeah, it really does. And that really sucks. Now, do you think that if he doesn't pitch this season, do you see a scenario where the Rays come to him and do like a little Drew Rasmussen, obviously with a little bit more money, and bring it to him and say, hey, how about we buy you out the first couple of free agent years at a lower market rate so that you can keep rehabbing with us. You know the deal, you know the team. And because I've always been the fact that he looks like a David Price sort of guy.
Yeah, he wants that big paycheck.
Don't come to me with any team-friendly crap. I'm not signing that. Like, he gives me the David Price vibes, which, hey,
right.
You've worked hard for your money. Go get that bag, babe. No problem. But does this kind of new update on his nerve triceps and the possibility that he might not pitch, I get from us, we're not saying that anybody has said that he can't pitch this year. But if he were not to do that, do you think that changes his opinion on a friendly deal?
I think it would have to, especially if you've been out of pocket and out of commission for as long as you have been. And he's still young. You know, he's 26 going on 27. So he eventually could still hit free agent mode, rebuild his value, and then get a big paycheck after that. So, I mean, at this point, if you have a team out there like the Rays, you know, they're offering you millions of dollars, not as many millions as you expect. I don't know how you can't take it. Like, again, not apples and oranges a little bit, but you know, if the Rays came up to Brendan McKay after he made his major league debut and said, hey, we'll give you a 6-year, $25 million deal, Brendan McKay probably now is looking back and saying, I wish I would have taken that. I'm just saying, I mean, it's, I guess, helpful from the Rays perspective of they can continue to have Shane McClanahan for a couple more years, even if he's quasi on the shelf. But I think, you know, again, what is McClanahan? He's on that. I guess this is the last of a 2-year, $7.2 million deal. So I could see something like that, maybe, you know, make it incentive laden to make it more worth his while. But I think that's something that he's going to have to consider, especially if he doesn't perform this year. So it really sucks from all perspectives. And, you know, to be even more competitive, you need Shane McClanahan in the starting rotation or the bullpen or somewhere. You need him throwing pitches from the left side. So I can guarantee one thing: we will not see Shane McClanahan facing the Mets on Friday through Sunday. And just focusing on them for a moment, this is going to be a tough test for the Rays because the Mets, believe it or not, the New York Mets have the best record in all of baseball. They're 44-24. Moreover, 26-7 at home, 8-2 in their last 10 games. So I guess the payroll is working out because they also have the highest payroll in baseball at $323 million and change. And this is about, as you would expect, as well-rounded as a ball club as there is right now between their offense, their pitching staff, and their defense. They are 5th in team OPS. They have the best team ERA, and they're 7th in defensive runs saved. And you got to watch out. I don't know if Zack Littell is slated to make a start. I guess he might, you know, miss the Mets by a day, but you might want to be circling Pete Alonso's name. You might want to be circling Francisco Lindor's name. You might want to be circling Juan Soto's name.
Wait, is that Stu Sternberg calling you?
Yeah, that is Stu Sternberg. Stu, I still have a couple more moments on the pod. You cannot interrupt me during this time frame. I've tried to make that clear as nicely as I can because he is the owner of the Rays.
Look,
he's going to leave a voicemail.
I'll talk to Stu to let stop calling you throughout the episode. It's fine. Now, also, I think there's a new guy in town. I think his name is Juan Soto. Oh yeah, that guy, $800 million. Watch out for that guy too.
Yeah, watch out for basically the entire heart of their order. They have 4 guys with double-digit homers: Alonso 17, Lindor 14, Soto 13, and Nimmo 12. Pete Alonso has been eating his Wheaties because he is absolutely on a tear, batting over 300 and has almost an 1,000 OPS. And then one other note on this with the Mets, what's interesting is you look at their starting pitching staff, and they are putting together terrific numbers, but it's kind of, to me, like an unheralded group. Like, I would never have guessed in a million years that David Peterson is putting up the numbers that he is, that Griffin Canning is putting up the numbers that he has, that Tyler McGill is putting up the numbers that he has. So however they patchwork their rotation, it is working right now because we're seeing a lot of good ERAs from that group. And then Kodai Senga is, you know, basically, doing amazing things with that 1.59 ERA in 68 innings.
this is what happens when money meets brains. And now with Stearns as a GM, with Cohen as the owner, and a clear goal of winning a World Series, well, let's put some brains in the front office. Let's put some money behind it. And guess what? Things are working out for them. Because coming into the season, you looked at the Mets rotation and you were not impressed at all. I mean, you have Clay Holmes, who gave Yankee fans so much of a difficult time in the bullpen for a couple seasons there. I mean, he was good, but they sometimes just destroyed his name on social media. And guess what? He's 7-3 with a 2.95 ERA, 13 games started, and a 7-73 innings pitched. I mean, fantastic stuff from the Mets. So it is going to be a very tough deal. So they don't only pitch well, they not only hit the ball well, but they also have a really good glove around. They're 7th in defensive runs saved. So it's a very good team in all facets of baseball. So if you wanted to see what the Rays are about, this weekend should be a good one.
This is the Evan Klosky series between the Rays and the Mets. We'll have to get his take on it, and that's a little treat for you all out there. We do plan to have Evan Klosky on for Friday's episode. Always a fun time with him. But in the meantime, thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to those podcasts.